Good morning on the West Coast, and good afternoon to those of you on the East Coast and in between. I would like to welcome you today to Ahead of the Crypto Curve. I'm your host, Naja Roberts, and I'm super excited today. But you know what, you beautiful people? We are here to break down the good, the bad, the ugly, and the bullish in the cryptocurrency world. And this show is tailor made for our community. I'm your host, Naja Roberts, and it is my mission in life to lead my people out of financial slavery on this virtual underground railroad. I don't just do this show to change the way you think about money, but to make you change the way you look at money and everything else around you because it absolutely matters. Today is Sunday, June 1st, 2025, and what an incredible day it is. Ladies and gentlemen, I am fresh back from Bitcoin 2025 in Las Vegas, Nevada, and what an incredible experience it was from the start to finish. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a new fire under me. And I'm just incredibly excited about everything that's going on. And I am hell bent on making sure that I am exposing everything that is working for us and everything that is working against us, and help you understand how those different missions, both good and bad, tie into Bitcoin and what we need to be doing in our community. And so, if I had a major takeaway from what happened at the Bitcoin conference this week, I would utilize a quote from the Bible. And it says, "A wise man leaves an inheritance for his children's children." And I am excited about that and afraid at the same time that many in our community are missing out. And I don't want anybody to have FOMO, which stands for fear of missing out. But I do want to say that missing out on the wealth transfer and the understanding of all of the inner workings, ladies and gentlemen, it compromises our community in a major way. Now, as we talk about the Bitcoin conference, we were definitely present. So I want to say big, huge, major shout out to Mr. or Dr. Sinclair Skinner, who had a booth that said Satoshi is black. And he had a kiosk booth at the Bitcoin conference, which allowed us to be able to come to a centrally located place and really start to talk and commune with each other. But above all, it gave others the opportunity to come and talk about our community and how we play a role into educating our community. And so Dr. Sinclair and I call him Sinclair because he is so down to earth. We talked about tours and the things that he was doing long before I was doing a tour, and coming up with some innovative and creative ideas because he too had given away Bitcoin on tour. He too had gone to HBCUs and not gotten any love. Um, and we just talked about some things, and it was a really good time for our community to really come together. But I will say this: on the second day, which was the major day of the conference, there were over 35,000 people that came through the doors of the Bitcoin 2025 conference. And JD Vance spoke at the conference. And basically, he just said that they were doing some major investing in the cryptocurrency space, which we already knew. And I actually wanted to allow you all to listen to JD Vance. Not that you have to like them, not that you got to love them, but you got to understand what they're doing so you can get ahead of it and move yourself into the proper positions, or not, just based on some of the things that they're saying. And so he started talking about stable coins and things of that sort. And we may break that down at a later date. But it is just so critically important for our community to understand self-sovereignty. Ladies and gentlemen, the way this technology space is going, the way AI is growing, the way digital currencies are growing, and they are two very different things going in two very different paths. But I believe that there is a reckoning happening where both the AI community and the cryptocurrency community is starting to come together a little bit more than they have in the past. And what that is going to do is enable policing, further policing of our funds and some of the things that we're able to actually do in a democratic society and in a democracy, right? And so things are changing, ladies and gentlemen, from so many different angles, not just from the political landscape, because our health, everything is going to be in some shape, form, or fashion dictated or understood through AI and monetized, in my opinion, in the cryptocurrency space, because they are trying to monetize everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything. They've been monetizing it in the fiat system. And now they've got to figure out a way to monetize it in the cryptocurrency space, because that is the direction that we're going. So everybody has got to get a full understanding of what's happening. But today, ladies and gentlemen, and I just love folks that are talking about different things in the cryptocurrency space. And yes, everything that people are investing in, and I don't want to say everything, many things that people are investing in are going to do well by default. But when we talk about still having your sovereignty, there's only one king of sovereignty, because you can get involved in things that make money, but if somebody else is dictating how those things are spent and the way that they work, then that does not give you the freedom that you need to move and do some of the things that you need to do. And so we're going to get into that probably on another day. That was one of the biggest things that I wanted to talk about coming out of the Bitcoin conference, because I saw that there were some other reconciliations that happened during the Bitcoin conference. A lot of people don't know that Garlinghouse and the Bitcoin conference community have been at odds for a few years, but Garlinghouse and the XRP community actually donated a statue to the Bitcoin conference. And I would say that is going to build a bridge that had been burnt at some point. And I don't know what that's going to mean, but I do know that sovereignty and us not being in a situation where we feel like because something is gaining in popularity or gaining in money, that's where we need to be. And I'll give you a prime example of that in the fiat system really quick before we go forward with our commercials. There's a lot of people that brag and taunt that they have, the first bank or a community bank or something that they can help the community with. The problem with that is they are still under the Federal Reserve Bank and those systems that have already been systematically put in place to keep control. So whether you own a community bank, a municipal bank, whatever it is you own, that is the problem that everybody has faced. You still have to go by their rules and laws. And so when we talk about certain cryptocurrencies, and I'm not going to get into all of them on the line, but I will say that they are still under the foot of individuals who control them. And the more people they get involved with, the more those people begin to shape the way those coins are moving. Now, not to say you can't make any money, but at the end of the day, you have no control. you have no control over those cryptocurrencies. So, with that being said, we are going to come forward and we'll continue this conversation. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Hey, y'all. I am going to, my commercial in my ear is not playing. I don't know if the connection dropped. Oh, he just got it. Well, hello, everybody. Hey, Ray and Sam, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. All right, so yes, we are getting it. Let me see, this is on LinkedIn. Got a lot of good information today. I'm hoping that I don't freeze too much. All right, let share this video. If you are on Instagram, like and subscribe, but all of that good stuff. But hey, y'all, hey, y'all, hey, y'all, we're going to jump in. We are going to jump in. I got a lot going on today, definitely, after getting back from the Bitcoin conference, and a lot of information to share with each and every one of you. But we are going to jump into this Hamilton project because a lot of people don't know about it. And we are going to we're going to talk about it. Hamilton project. All right, my engineer is going to be bringing me back, but hopefully you all have gotten a copy of my book. I don't even know if I have. Yeah, I got one right here. If you haven't already, go to Amazon and purchase a copy of the book, Queens in Crypto, Queens in Crypto. I am super excited about this book. I think it is a great read to help newbies understand the space. And he's bringing me back in 1 minute. I am super, super excited. I am having I'm having my 55th birthday party, and we're going to be celebrating cryptocurrency as well at that event. It's going to be in the city of Inglewood. Super excited about that. So I'll give more information to you all about that. And we have a bunch of stuff coming up. And my birthday is actually July 5th, and the event is on my birthday, July 5th. So looking forward to having you all come out and enjoy and have a great time, enjoy free food and drinks and music and all of that stuff. So I'm excited about that. So we are getting ready to come back in about 30 seconds. So I want to make sure that I am on point with that because I was slow today. You are welcome, Sam. I appreciate you for being on as well. And we jumping into it right about now. All right, everyone. Today we are digging into something exciting. Y'all know I was the first person, and I like to say first, because I was talking about Project 2025 long before our community started talking about Project 2025, because it had been going on for a very long time. But ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to dig into a topic that is bridging economic innovation, social progress, and they are cutting edge with the technology. And we'll be unpacking the impact of what is called the Hamilton Project and its key principles in this revolutionary potential of Bitcoin, and how it all ties into empowerment of our community. But before we jump in, I just want you all to do me a brief favor. We're going to be talking about government investments, financial inclusion, and ways that technology is stepping in to rewrite traditional economic rules. But I need y'all to stick with me on this one because this is a roadmap for everybody. We are talking about the Hamilton Project. And I've been reading about it for a while, and I've been trying to really dig in and see what the economic policy is and how Bitcoin and blockchain technology may align or even amplify the principles of the Hamilton Project. And so we are going to look at a couple of the concepts that may intersect with this Hamilton Project, but the realities and aspirations of our community have to stay first. Now, if you're curious about what the Hamilton Project is and what Bitcoin has in common with it, just go ahead, pour yourself a cup of coffee this morning or this afternoon, wherever you are. Lean in, stay tuned, and we are really just going to dig in. So this initiative, ladies and gentlemen, is housed at the Brookings Institute. And it's all about crafting innovative economic policies that promote lasting prosperity. And I'm going to say for who? Again, we can feel like we're a part of the game, but if we're not actually a part of the game, we have to be building a parallel economy. And I believe that Bitcoin affords our community the opportunity to look at what is happening through things like the Hamilton Project, follow suit, but also build a parallel economy alongside what is going on. And so they are focusing on three big areas that we love to talk about here on the Ahead of the Crypto Curve. And that's economic growth, broad participation in that growth, and the role of effective government making that happen for our community, because it doesn't matter anything. It doesn't matter at all if it's not benefiting our community in the end, because if it's not benefiting us, that means it's hurting us and taking away from what we're trying to do in our community. But here's what I love about the Hamilton project. You can, again, you can watch it, you can follow it, but you've got to still continue to build in what they're saying, but also build in that parallel economy. They are laser focused on ensuring that the economic growth benefits everyone. And so they talk about all Americans, not just corporations, but all Americans. And they believe in combining government policy with public investments to create new opportunities for everyone. Now, that's where it gets a little bit sticky. So I want you to think infrastructure, social safety nets, and yes, even funding in innovative ideas like AI, cryptocurrency, and blockchain. It sounds too good to be true. So I'm just going to say, proceed with caution, but we are going to link this to the Bitcoin in just a minute. Now, there's something mind-blowing about this new Hamilton project. Did y'all know that this Hamilton project that they're just starting to talk about with JD Vance and President Trump has been around since 2006. They've been cranking out policy ideas on everything from education to tax reform. And their studies go deep into building stronger safety nets and addressing disparities. Now, there's a whole bunch of moving parts in here, and now they're starting conversations about the intersection between tech and the economy, and that's where we come in. So, ladies and gentlemen, you need to understand that a lot of the stuff that pops its head up is kind of like bamboo. Bamboo takes years and years to sprout under the ground. It doesn't show any growth above ground. But when its time comes, it sprouts up as tall as it can sprout. But you never knew about all the work that bamboo root was doing under the ground. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is exactly the same. They have been working on this Hamilton project for over a decade. and nobody has really been talking about it. But now they're starting to implement Bitcoin and blockchain and AI into this game changer for communities. And supposedly they're working for those individuals that have been sidelined by traditional finance. But we'll see how that works. But I am also going to say, I cannot trust that, because in the past, they have not proven to be trustworthy as it relates to those of us who have been sidelined by traditional finances. So, if I was to bet on something, I would say look at what they're doing, involve yourself just enough to be able to get the things that you need done, but also have a plan B. And that plan B is going to be Bitcoin. And so before we connect Bitcoin with the Hamilton Project and its goals, we need to actually cover the basics. Imagine you're building a house. Traditionally, you'll need a middleman like a bank to approve every purchase for the lumber, and when I say you need a bank to approve it, that may even be a Home Depot or a Lowe's credit card. You got to get somebody to approve those things. Bitcoin, on the other hand, allows you to build that house without a middleman, using technology to secure transactions and maintain trust. And the reason this is so important, and I'm going to go back to the Bitcoin conference that we just left. I watched 300, 400, 100,000 be spent on art without any intermediary. And it is beautiful to be able to pick up your phone, scan a QR code, send somebody $100,000 if you wanted to for a piece of art, take that art home with you. And that is what was being done at the Bitcoin conference. I saw ridiculous things being sold, and they were using Satoshi. So everything at the conference was actually priced in Satoshi. So you had to figure out how much 0.00259 a Bitcoin was, which is in Satoshis, in order to buy the thing. But then there were some pieces that said 3.0 Bitcoin. Now, ladies and gentlemen, since you know a little bit about what I'm talking about, that means something was worth $327,000, and that's what they were selling it for. And you got to think about this community. This community, the Bitcoin community, is able to do that because they got Bitcoin, most of them, when Bitcoin wasn't that much. And now that it has gone up, I don't want to necessarily say they don't understand the value, but it didn't hurt the pocket so much to buy $100,000 picture, because maybe they spent $2,500 or $230 and they're getting that picture. And so in their mind, they're still working on the price that they paid for it. But anyway, let's get into what is going to be happening. And Bitcoin isn't just this shiny tech toy for Silicon Valley. It's a serious implication for financial inclusion, and we got to be included. Our community, as we know, has faced these barriers. I'm not going to go back into that, but we are going to bring it together with the Hamilton Project and what their vision is. And we're going to connect the dots. And so Bitcoin aligns beautifully with the mission of the Hamilton Project, and you can read all about it. Bitcoin is decentralized, which means no single institution controls it. If you go with the thing that the Hamilton Project is talking about, they're actually suggesting some banks that are more progressive than others. But I stated on the early part of the show, no matter what bank, community bank, rural bank, federal credit union, no matter what you utilize, they are still beholden to the folks that control the money. And so why would you jump out of a skillet into a frying pan? And so Bitcoin allows us the opportunity to take back into our hands all of the things that we need to not be institutionally controlled. And it's accessible to everybody. And it just requires a smartphone. and everybody has a smartphone. So we're talking about real world impacts of our community. And so Bitcoin has its hurdles, as you know, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But we are really going to ask each and every one of you to understand that as digital assets are ushered into the world, our community, even though you think you are late, things like the Hamilton Project have not yet been implemented to its totality, and they're leaking a little by a little uh into the atmosphere, and they're getting their ideas out, and they're talking about economic self-empowerment, and they are really talking about ensuring that every American is able to participate. But I still see a few guardrails that could actually prevent our community from being able to participate. Now, they're talking about inclusion for all, and I hear that, and we hear that all the time. We live that all the time. Financial inclusion, job inclusion, which they're cutting out a lot of that. But the whole point is, even though those things are in place, it is still not an equal or equitable situation for many of us. And I talk to people all the time in all different types of walks of life and positions, and everybody has the same sentiments. They say that that is diversity, equity, inclusion, and they want to include us in it, just like the Hamilton Project wants to include us. They want us to be at the forefront of this innovation. But, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, are they really going to be able to implement the way that they need to implement without the powers of be saying, oh no, you're giving too much, or you're putting too much emphasis on educating and doing things of that sort, because they don't want everybody to know the truth about sovereignty and getting away from the banks and things of that sort. So as you begin to read, and I'm going to tell you this before we go into news, sports, and traffic, you can go to hamiltonproject.org. Again, hamiltonproject.org, and you can take a look at what they're doing. And if you're curious, of course, about Bitcoin, and you want to start learning about really giving yourself some financial empowerment, the first step towards achieving that broader economic equity, ladies and gentlemen, is to build a portfolio around, if not totally, and I'm not a financial advisor giving you any financial advice, but check out the Hamilton Project, see what they're doing, and seeing how it aligns with our parallel economy. When we come forward after news, sports, and traffic, we'll continue the conversation. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Shalom, shalom. Greetings from Rocky Mountain, North Carolina. All right. Welcome again to each and every one of you. Thank you for joining. I'm on commercial break on the radio, so I am going to tell you, please go to Amazon and get a copy of Queens in Crypto. This is a book written by me. It is a step-by-step guide to help you ruling digital assets. I thought you can see it, but I'll put it there so that you all can see it. Queens in Crypto by Naja Roberts. Check it out. Pick up one. It's online. It is well worth the money. I'm getting a lot of great reviews, and I really appreciate all of your support. All of the support. So I really support. I really appreciate you. I was going to say support you, but thank you for supporting me. And I'll be coming back off of my break in just a few. When I got on the radio this morning, they had already started my introduction song, so I didn't get a chance to play it. But we're moving forward. Yes. So welcome Somebody said no Litecoin. Ray, you got Bitcoin? Let me ask you that. Happy Sunday, Angela. Shalom to you, HT. That's Hugh. Please put me on the list. Oh, for my birthday party? Absolutely. I got to get my birthday invitation. I have your cell phone number. If you're on my send me a text message. I know you got my phone number, so I'm not talking to you because I can send you the invitation when I get off. But if you like an invitation to my birthday party, please feel free to send me a text message. Um, Free food, free drinks. The only thing you got to do is if you want an alcoholic beverage, you got to bring that in your own cooler because I cannot supply that. But it's going to be in the city of Inglewood. And I got to put this mic down to type in the chat. If you would like a please text me at 424-317-7373. It's on July 5th in the city of Inglewood. And we're having a music festival. So it should be a lot of fun, Well, I will say this, Ray. He said, I'm going to show his thing. I heard people using Litecoin for buying, especially in retail. Just thought I'd ask. People are using all kinds of coins. So again, money can be anything that someone is willing to trade you for goods and services. So if we decided today that people can use glasses as money, if they're using it in retail, they're using it in retail. All that means is people have just agreed to use that. So it doesn't make Litecoin any more superior than anything else. People are using Bitcoin for that matter. Some people are using XRP. Some people are using something called gold coin. I have a partner that goes around and all he does is try to get companies to use gold coin to transact with. And so eventually, whatever the standard is going to be, that's what we need to be investing in is the standard. I understand that you can have some Litecoin in your portfolio. Yes, you can have Ethereum, you can have XRP, you can have all of those things. But what we're looking to do is be the winner and not the maybe if and they use it a little bit. We want to have what the major coin is going to be. And I can tell you unequivocally, I believe that the main coin is going to be Bitcoin. So with that being said, my show commercial is coming back in just a second. All right, welcome forward, welcome forward. So let's kind of get done. I'm going to say that with the Hamilton project. But you all just really start to read and understand a lot of things that start to pop their heads out, just like Project 2025. The only reason I found out about it is because I was digging, going down a rabbit hole, trying to figure out what folks were talking about as it relates to Project 2025, and I found out. And so I started positioning myself and understanding that they were going to be attacking our jobs. And it's happened. And I am really happy to say that if we start paying attention more to some of the things that have been going on a very long time that we think are not going to affect our economy and our households, they absolutely are. And so as we look forward, as we understand that they're going to be pulling many cryptocurrencies out of the bag, they're going to be launching many cryptocurrencies. They're going to be telling many lies about the abilities of cryptocurrencies. But you got to continue to ask yourself if what they're telling you matches most of what you're researching or hearing. And I don't even want to say on traditional platforms like NBC and things like that. But I will say if money is being raised and strategic reserves are being placed in our states and in our country in and around Bitcoin, why then are we going to focus or make our main focus on another cryptocurrency? And so that's all I want to say. If we are going to focus on something, we need to focus on what they're doing, and most of the stuff that you're going to find is going to be through reading. It's not coming across your television. And so when I say go to and read about the Hamilton Project, we're involved, and we had no idea that we've been involved as a community since 2006. So if they are talking to our president and vice president right now about implementing some of the strategies and policy ideas that they have in the Hamilton plan, we need to know what that plan is, what their plan is for our community. And if they've got a plan for our community, we need to have a plan for our community. And I've been saying this for years. Our plan should be Bitcoin, period. We need plan B, plan Bitcoin. And we need to build that alongside of going ahead and figuring out how we're still able to purchase things without spending our Bitcoin. And I'm proud to say at the Bitcoin conference, I met some folks that have some lending platforms around Bitcoin. Gemini was speaking to me about a credit card that they have, and y'all know I don't want us to go into debt. But Gemini has a big credit card that they're now talking to several communities about and making it more accessible for people to have Bitcoin and to earn Bitcoin while they spend. And so we're going to be I personally am going to be taking a look at that. And I'm going to share some things with you. And there's some other cold wallet devices that are going to help us navigate this cryptocurrency space, because you all know I've been huge on Ledger. But honestly, and I brought a lot of money to Ledger. Actually, we were the first company in the United States to hold an actual Ledger wallet for sale in our establishment. And I know that for a fact. But Ledger hasn't done as much as we need them to do in our community. And I'm going to say that because, as you all know, I've been an advocate for our community for a very long time. And companies like BMW at one point, we went after. We had the largest amount of BMWs per capita in the United States, but BMW had never done anything to promote education or help any establishment in our community. So we went after them. And so I'm talking the same language in our community. Don't just take from us, give back to us, help us educate, give us, and I'm not saying give us any money per se, but give us the ability, like you give other people the ability to educate the community through different innovative ideas and events and things that we have. And so I'm looking for those type of sponsors. And so since we haven't been able to garner that support, because they think it's all about getting some sort of I guess kickback for the amount of ledgers and things that are being sold, we want them to know, and I want them to know, it's not even about that. It's about us having the ability to educate our community. And so when we're looking for sponsors for the radio show, which again, this show, Ahead of the Crypto Curve, thanks to Tavis Smiley, this is the longest running syndicated, nationally syndicated radio show in the nation. A lot of people don't know that. And we've never had a sponsor. And so Tavis Smiley has been footing the bill all this time. So I guess we have had a sponsor, which is KBLA, but they've been footing the bill. And so now I am looking to find somebody else, because if we haven't showed, folks that we are loyal, and it's been to our benefit, because we want people to make sure that they're custodying their own cryptocurrency. Ledger has been great for the last, I don't know how many years, with providing us with something that we're paying for, because we've had to pay for them. We got them at a discount, but we've had to pay for those things. And now there's some new folks in town that have some cold storage wallets that work, and they're saying, hey, look, we're here for the community. whatever we can do to assist you, whatever we can do to sponsor you, let us know. And so I'm making this announcement today because y'all know from day one, I've been doing Ledger and Me 1, 2, 3s, but the game is changing and times are changing and more technology is out there. More companies are popping their heads up and they want to support the education of our community. And I'm with it. And so, ladies and gentlemen, you are starting to see a transformation from the normal to us moving another notch towards self-sovereignty of our community in its totality. So if you're listening to the sound of my voice today and you have not purchased 1 million Satoshis and you have not gone to my website and given us your first initial, your last name, and the city, I don't even want the city, the state that you are contacting us from, please feel free to do that because we are on a mission to get 1 million families in our community 1 million Satoshis in their wallet. Now, I'll tell you, my uncle just about 2 months ago, and it hasn't even been 2 months, he bought his 1 million Satoshis. And I brought this up the other day. He bought his 1 million Satoshis and he's watching that price go up. Now, he's been a financial advisor. He's been a Bell's bondsman. He's been in the not the technology space, but the digital economy that has to do with just making sure that funds go to the right place in the military. I'll say it that way. But he's told me the other day he's never had his money grow the way that it's grown in Bitcoin in all of his 75 years. And he has been in the money space. He has done some things. And so I'm super excited about his enthusiasm. So he's moved from the 1 million Satoshis now at my advice to purchasing this week 2 more million Satoshis. And he's just doing it a little at a time, a little by little by little by little. And then all at once, you should have what you need in your cold storage wallet. And I'm going to make an announcement next week on what that cold storage device is. Hopefully, I'll be able to come back with good news because I met with them at Bitcoin 2025 to see what they would offer our community by way of education. I don't need a kickback from the sale of their products. I need them to get me boots on the ground in my communities, educating my community, point blank, period. And that is what I made abundantly clear. I don't need y'all to give me no money to do anything else other than educate my community because that is my mission. And they were receptive to that. So, ladies and gentlemen, when we come forward, we'll continue the conversation. This is KBLA Talk 1580. All right, y'all. I am on this show. Let me see if I got some more. Somebody asked me where. Somebody asked me where the party was. It's in Inglewood, California. I forgot to put that up there. And I don't want this. Oh, Lord, what did I do? All right, y'all. I think, bear with me, everybody. I am having a little technical difficulty, but I think I can snap back here. Trying to see what's happening with my radio. Yeah, I think my system went out there for a minute. Can you hear me? All right. Yep, I'm back online. I actually just swapped out my battery. It might have been the battery. I had some on deck, thank goodness. Well, we can go back and I'm going to come out on the 55 and then we'll take it home from there. All right, everybody, thank you for your patience. I had a technical difficulty during that time, but he's bringing me back in just a minute. I don't. All right, we can make it through this thing. We only got a few more minutes. I want to thank y'all for hanging out with me again. Send me a text message if you need me. I will definitely uh, get back to you. Hey, Miriam, it's not my birthday yet. July 5th, July 5th, but I will be partying in the city of Inglewood. There's a music festival, and we will have a Naja Roberts party pavilion. So we're going to have tents and stuff out there, and we're going to have a birthday. Oh, it said it had it on there. So stay tuned. We're going to wrap this thing up. We're going to talk about the price of Bitcoin, and then we're going to go from there. All right. All right. Let's get into this. I'm going to CoinMarketCap to get some prices going. All right, welcome forward, welcome forward. So let's get into some price action right now. And ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about what is happening with the fear and greed index inside of the cryptocurrency market. We are moving back towards a neutral stance. You know, everybody was really bullish about Bitcoin and we were in the green, but now we are in the yellow, which is neutral. We're at 56%. And so right now, ladies and gentlemen, there is $3.2 trillion that is in the cryptocurrency space. $3.29 trillion. Now, I'm going to tell you how that is tying in because we've got JP Morgan, HSBC, USB, and MUFG. They are doing a test right now to test the digital dollar system with all of the global banks. And ladies and gentlemen, this list is growing. And this is how it ties back into the Hamilton Project. And we are a step away from full government control over your bank accounts. If this central bank digital currency is allowed to be implemented, it is going to be something extra terrible for our community. But even though Trump banned central bank digital currencies right now, the banks are still pushing forward with their private test program. And the reason they're doing this is because when the ban is lifted, they want to be fully ready to take advantage of people not being educated in this cryptocurrency space and not being self-sovereign. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, Bitcoin is trading at $104,589. It is down in the last hour 0.53%, and in the last 24 hours is up 0.14%. And Ethereum is trading at 2,509. It is down all the way across on the hour, 24, and the 7. And a lot of people, I'm just going to go down a bit. XRP is trading at $2.15. So those of you that are interested in that coin is down in the last hour. A lot of people are giving a lot of speculation about XRP's ability to work with the banks. They probably are going to be working with the banks. And they're still going to attract many more people to the coin. And that's a good thing for those of you that got into XRP very early. However, it's still the very system, the same very system that has taken us for a ride all these years. And so please, ladies and gentlemen, tread lightly, pay attention, and understand exactly what's going on in the space, because everything that glitters is not gold. And so I'm not saying anything Either way, again, I'm not a financial advisor anymore on purpose, and I'm not providing any financial advice, but just understand that there are 16.4 million cryptocurrencies out there. And as I stood at the Bitcoin conference, there were people walking around telling people that we're about to launch this coin this Thursday. So get ready. Make sure you get in there and buy early. And a lot of these things are pump and dumps, are just schemes to get money out of your pocket. And I'm talking for sure. I want to be for sure. And I can honestly say that I am sure about what is going to happen in the Bitcoin space. And so I can't speak to anything else because nothing else is decentralized. Nothing else allows us the opportunity to be as sovereign as Bitcoin does. Now, again, there have been many cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin is not the first. It is the first one that worked on the blockchain. So with that being said, if this community is serious about increasing their wealth and closing the wealth gap, it just makes sense to me to make sure that we have Bitcoin reserves like everybody else that's doing big things in this space. So, ladies and gentlemen, get your million Satoshis in place. And what is that? A million Satoshis right now today is $1,045. $1,045. That is what a million Satoshis will cost you today. Get that. Just get it, ladies and gentlemen. It does not make sense for us not to be able, even if you can't afford 1,000, go ahead and get $10, $20. You can open up your Cash App and buy it. I'm going to keep saying the same thing over and over because I'm hoping that those of you that are listening to me are also talking to your friends and family. Get $10, $20, $40. Help them understand what it is by grabbing getting on the internet and doing your research, or getting a book, my book, Queens in Crypto. It'll help them have a guide to what they need to be doing. But ladies and gentlemen, get them on this show weekly so that they can just start somewhere, because this is getting more serious by the week. And I usually come on and say what a difference a week makes. And I'm going to say what a difference a week makes for me, because after leaving that conference, after sitting in on a couple of the things that I sat in and on, including JD Vance's speech, it is apparent, ladies and gentlemen, that money is absolutely changing. Everything that I've been saying has been true. And y'all know what? It feels so good to be right. And I'm not saying that I wanted to be right. I knew I was right, but it feels so good to be able to say, back on my show 3 years ago, I told you about Project 2025, and nobody was listening because it wasn't 2025 yet. I told you what they were doing throughout the years, and nobody was listening. And I felt like a town crier. Well, I am still being a town crier and telling you guys that you must get your staple cryptocurrency, which is Bitcoin. And if you choose to do anything else, you can do that. It is absolutely up to you, but you have got to really get started. Get your friends and family started. If you need education, that's what I'm here for. As my favorite movie says, I'm your Huckleberry. I'm your Huckleberry, y'all. I'm here to educate, not, I don't want to educate you because that's electrocute, but they're going to electrocute you if this CBCD comes out, that's for sure. So just make sure that you are ready to be self-sovereign, that you are taking your Bitcoin and all of your other cryptocurrencies off the exchanges and into your cold storage wallet. We're going to start up in the month of July, having our cold storage Zooms again with a new company. And I'm excited about that. So, ladies and gentlemen, when we come forward, we'll continue the conversation. This is KBLA Talk 1580. All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right. I'm trying to hold it together, y'all. I got this mic in my hand. I got my radio equipment in one hand and trying to make it through, but we're going to make it through. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have the Blockchain Summit coming up in Washington, D.C. You can go to the Black Blockchain Summit and register. Get out to the Black Blockchain Summit. We want to make this the biggest Black Blockchain Summit ever. It's in Howard University in DC in September. It's the same week as the National Black Caucus, Congressional Black Caucus. So please get out. I'll be speaking. I'll be there hosting some events. I'll be there to meet you personally. I have booths there. I'm super excited about this. So ladies and gentlemen, please get out to the Black Blockchain Summit. That is one of the things that we have coming up. All right, welcome forward. I want to just make sure that everyone is clear. We are on a mission to educate. We are on a mission to close the wealth gap. And we are on a mission to make sure that this knowledge touches everyone's ears, whether they take heed or not. Because what we don't want to do is have people in our community say, I didn't know nothing about that. What I want them to be able to say when they miss out is, somebody told me about that. I heard about that, but I didn't listen. But I don't want the excuse to be, I didn't know nothing about that, because I am trying to educate everybody everywhere, and it can be done. We just have to be strategic. And so this week coming forward, I will be working to make sure that I am coming to somewhere near you to educate, where you can bring your friends and family and everybody that is willing to listen. We want to make sure that we get the information, and we got to do this just the way they do it for presidential elections. They get out. They have people that are canvassing. They have people that are doing all sorts of things to introduce the community to Bitcoin. And we've got to do that. But of course, it takes money. And so just like campaigns and campaign trails and canvassers, we're going to have our volunteers, but we've also got to have some funds to be able to get out there and do that. And so I'm looking for that company that wants to allow me to do that thing, because I want to canvas Bitcoin in our communities the way politicians actually canvas the communities around this United States for a vote. And I know we can do it because we did it just recently. And unfortunately, the people showed up, but did they really show up when it was time? And so I'm looking at all of those things. I'm looking at which companies are best for our community, and I'm going to continue to share them with you. So you all can go to asknajaroberts.com and you can look and find some of those companies. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, continue stacking your Satoshis, continue stacking your gold, continue prepping. We don't know what's going to come up. Make sure you have 3 to 6 months worth of non-perishable foods in your pantry, ladies and gentlemen. We know not the day, the hour, and I'm not talking about when Jesus is coming back, because he is coming back, but we know not the day, the time, the hour that this thing is going to erupt in any fashion, because it is on right now and cracking here in the United States and abroad. And we've got to be very careful, because unfortunately they have involved us by default. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining Ahead of the Crypto Curve. I'm your host, Naja Roberts, your conductress in this virtual underground railroad. I love you. Peace and blessings. Next week, same time, same station, KBLA Talk 1580. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to do my outro, and then you all can text me if you want to. Peace and blessings.
You're listening to Naja Roberts on Ahead of the Crypto Curve. Please follow her on all social media platforms at Naja Roberts. No underscores, no dots, no numbers, just Naja Roberts. Let's close the wealth gap. It's our turn. Learn or get left behind. Create your own economy. Let's get ahead of the crypto curve.
Peace and blessings.
You're listening to Naja Roberts on Ahead of the Crypto Curve. Please follow her on all social media platforms at Naja Roberts. No underscores, no dots, no numbers, just Naja Roberts. Let's close the wealth gap. It's our turn.
All right,
learn or get left behind. Create ahead of the crypto curve. You're listening to Naja Roberts.